vision for that is. And everything we've been building, as you saw yesterday, was built with the consumer in mind, but you have to start someplace. And again, it made sense to start with the advisor, the people that are actually presenting proposals and creating the itineraries, and then bring the suppliers in. And then once you have that and you have all the content, then you're ready to bring the consumer in. And the good news is we're at that point now. So I think the interesting thing is you think, well, how do consumers access this? And Virtuoso.com will be the gateway. It'll be the place where consumers will come and access it. The difference between Virtuoso.com today and what it will be, though, is that the new Virtuoso.com will have Composer, a lot of which you saw yesterday, as the warehouse, the place where all of this is stored. And we talked a little bit yesterday about the structure and the organization and the security within that warehouse. All of that is very important as we start bringing consumers into the fold. So the access is going to be through Virtuoso.com. The content will be stored in Composer. Suppliers will enter content through Composer, and advisors will actually have some of their secure things like commissions and incentives in Composer, but consumers will enter through Virtuoso.com. Now, just to make it really easy, even advisors and suppliers will ultimately enter through Virtuoso.com. And if you go to Virtuoso.com today, if you notice in the upper right-hand corner now, there's a new little link there that says Advisor Login. And so we're already now starting advisors that if you want to log into Composer, you can get there through Virtuoso.com. You click on the Advisor Login. Because of the authentication process and the security we have, we know who they are, we know what data they can see and what data they shouldn't be able to see, and they can then enter, they're entering Composer, but they're doing it through Virtuoso.com. So that's how people are going to access it. Virtuoso.com will be based on millions of pages of content. We started about 3 years ago with this program called UGC, or User Generated Content. And user-generated content first, of course, started with advisors cleaning up their profiles and suppliers putting in products and content. And as we move towards consumers, it will be consumers adding content as well. So when we say user-generated content, it is all of those three communities, the advisor community, the supplier community, and the consumer community adding content. And as I'm sure as you know, especially I've been a real fan of Forbes and studying how Forbes has managed content from individual contributors, right, and the millions of pages of content you have. So think of a consumer coming in, and like Matthew just said, talking about a property or an experience they just had, other consumers in this community coming and commenting on that. That's new content. Advisors commenting on that. The supplier coming in and commenting on that. So each individual content or piece of data from a user is then multiplied many times by the comments, and all of those are fresh pages. All of those drive search engine optimization. So Matthew, as you heard yesterday, challenged us to grow 10x. We have about 2 million consumers that access Virtuoso.com today. We're building this for that 20 million consumers, and it's the pages of content that will drive that. What makes us different than other sites? I think that the important thing here is that it is a closed community, although we'll have some intriguing and inspiring photographs and some things that will hopefully draw consumers into this site. We're talking with people like Sally Hogshead about how do we create travel personas and archetypes for travelers so that we can begin. The whole premise of 23 Touchpoints was to be able to offer a consumer a specific product at a specific time that would be consistent with the way they would normally brand or buy travel. So, and do it all under the brand of the Virtuoso Advisor and the member agency as well as Virtuoso. So the differentiation here is that as people come in and they begin to get more engaged with the site, we will begin getting more and more information from them to the point where they will then have a profile, so we can authenticate them as they come in and show them information that will be private and secure for them. So the difference here between, if you look today, there's kind of two major .com plays in travel. One of them is social. I've been here, I put a pin in it, I've put a picture on it, I've shouted it out, I've linked it to various other social sites, and it's more communication, not a whole lot of security, although I guess if you call being friends on Facebook, that could be, security. But in this case, that's one vein. The other vein is book me. I'm coming in and I'm going to, I'm going to go to an OTA and I'm going to make a booking. There's a sweet spot in the center, and that's what really makes us different, is that we're going to combine or have an intersection of both the social and the travel site. And Virtuoso.com will be that sweet spot in the center where the consumer can go with a lot of trust and confidence that they're talking to like-minded consumers. They're talking to other Virtuoso travelers. They can be as confidential and private as they want. They can open up their comments. The ratings and reviews that they have will actually be more authentic than ratings and reviews maybe out in the TripAdvisor world, because we will make sure that a consumer can only review a product. To Matthew's point, this product shouldn't be part of our community, but they're going to have to have stayed there. And how do we know that? Because of the data that we harvest every night. We know who was there. So we only let people rate or review products, destinations, advisors that they have used in the past. And that gives some authenticity then to the rating. The last thing is really what's the benefit of doing this. We know that consumers love the travel planning process. They love the research. And some of them have thought, Matthew's favorite quote is, why would I not use a travel advisor? And consumers have said, well, the reason I would not use one is I kind of enjoy doing this myself. But there comes a point in that do-it-yourself world where they have to make a decision. And their most valuable asset is their leisure time. And if they make a mistake, if they go someplace and it doesn't turn out quite like the pretty pictures on the web said it would, or if they actually end up going there during hurricane season and they didn't realize it, but the rate was really pretty good, and that's why they got such a low rate, or if something unforeseen happens and they have to return home immediately, they need some help and some assistance. And that's really where the advisor comes in, is to take the research and take the planning that the consumers have done, and under the watchful eye of them, let them enjoy that process, but at some point in time say, the reason that those rates are so low at this time is because, and fill in the blank. So the real benefit here then is combining the fun of research and the fun of planning with the careful, watchful eye of the advisor. Now today what we've built is advisors can create what we call travel folios, which are travel ideas that are packaged into more or less a proposal. In the next step is the consumer will be able to create the travel folio, and right now when the advisor creates a travel folio, the consumer's alerted. In the future, when the consumer creates the travel folio, the advisor will be alerted. So it's really the same process, and it falls into the same security and the same structure and organization that we have today. It's just letting now the consumer drive and let the advisor be the passenger. The last part of this then moves into travel planning. And that's where the trip actually takes place, where the details take place, and we make sure we have continuity. I mean, consumers do get a little confused when they cross state lines and things of that nature. So we've got travel advisors, making sure and watching that they're doing that. So the travel planning phase then of Virtuoso.com is the actual trip itself, but it's also then the place where the memories are stored, where the photographs can be stored, where the blogs can be created, where the podcasts can be created. So that completes the purpose, and that's really what we'll be working on in 2013. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you, Scott, very much. And right